Myri. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Yup, the balance of power, World War III. Sounds like a movie, right? Sounds like a movie. But it's not far fetched right now for a good while. It's not far fetched. Ever since September 11th, right? The stage has been set for over, what, 26 years um, from the World Trade Center um, went down, right? Physically. So the title is called The Balance of Power, World War III. Like I said, it sounds like a movie. Some people might not understand what I'm saying, but there's been signs for a long time, right? So ever since September 11th, right, the oil prices have changed all around the world. The oil prices have changed, so it became first, well, after that attack. If it's an attack or if it was made up, some conspiracy theorists mentioned that the World Trade Center going down was made up, right? But it created a lot of financial problems, national security increased, many other things. And then America, they went into Afghanistan, Iraq, and the rest of the world felt that, right? But everybody kind of, you know, worked together more around that time. So now, 26 years or 25 years later, if you want to say, more like 25 years later, 2026, because that was September 11th, 2000 and I think what, 2001, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But now, right, we got this guy once again who deals with a lot of money. He's a money man, Mr. Donald Trump, and he had a lot of investment into the World Trade Center himself, right? He lost a lot of money over the years because of 9/11. And now, fast forward to now, he's doing tariffs. So it's an economic war. World War III, you want to know how it's starting? It's through economics, money, the money system, the money game. That's what Trump works with, the money. So when you see him doing what he's doing, it's all for the money, economic war. And that was World War One and World War Two. No different. World War One and World War Two was about money. Just do your research. They were in Africa in World War Two. You know what they're doing? They're splitting up the continent from World War One and World War Two. Things was going on for economic power. No different than now, right? I'm hearing news that in Venezuela, for example, which Trump took over, as he mentioned, there's a gunfire now. After what he has done, you know what's going to happen. Like I said, civil war breaking out probably over there. All leaders of the world are talking about what's going on in Venezuela and America. They're talking about Trump, and others feel that they could step into the arena, the theater of war. China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, all of the so called axis of evil, what Bush was talking about 25 years ago, are the ones talking right now. So, if people don't know what a world war is, how many world wars started, for example, World War II, Japan, right? Japan, they went to China, took over China, right? They were fighting their own thing over there. And then in Europe, you know, the Germans, they were taking over France and taking over basically all of Europe, right? Other countries were had their own, guess, battles going on. That's what's going on right now. China is surrounding Taiwan right now, threatening Taiwan because they believe that it's theirs. Russia they've been blasting Ukraine because they believe it's theirs. Um, right now, America basically attacked what's called Venezuela and is calling it theirs too. You see the pattern, and the it goes on and on and on. So the balance of power is a lot of world powers like China, America, and Russia. Those three for now. They want to claim something, right? And gain more power. Do your research. So World War III is already going on. World War III is already in session, right? Especially with the tariffs that Trump has put out. That is like that's economic war, and now he's showing the physical war with the power. So he's put sanctions on Russia, right? And I think he tried to put sanctions on China. Might have took that off. He put sanctions on anybody he feels is doing something against America, right? He doesn't care about anybody else. So, like I said, right now, the balance of power is really going on with Venezuela because uh, Trump and America feels that they should be controlling it, controlling the oil, and the other countries are watching this. They're all watching this, and they feel that they could do what they want. So now, if China puts pressure on Taiwan and starts to go there the same way how America's doing it, is America gonna step in? Are they gonna step in? Russia's already doing what they want with Ukraine, so they can't stop Russia. So what happens if Russia really kind of pumps it up or turns it up and actually goes in and takes over Ukraine fully? Is America gonna step in more? Are they gonna step into, like I said, the Taiwan China situation? If North Korea starts threatening South Korea, is America gonna step in more? Let's see. So this is all cooking up to a war, a broader war on different fronts. That's how World War I and especially World War II started. It's not just one country. It's called World War. So it's now it just takes one individual to start it. And that individual right now is Mr. Trump. Now, you want to know how the story of World War II started? They said there was a king that was assassinated, right? An Austrian king was assassinated, and that's how it started, right? This Austrian king must have been very influential in Europe, and that's how World War II started. And other countries started to do revolutions, takeovers. Like I said, Japan went to China, took over China, and you seen what happened in Japan with Hiroshima. Who brought that bomb? Who brought that bomb? Right? Don't forget what America done in Japan. They hit them with that. I don't know if it's a nuke or what type of bomb, but that was a big warning. So if you study war, do your research. Starts with the economics, right? And it's on many different fronts, different countries with their situation causing war and destruction. So that's what's going on now. So America is starting up again. And it started from 9/11. Started from 9/11, maybe even before, but really started off with those two towers coming down in New York, right? And then Mr. Bush, he said basically Iraq and Afghanistan and many others are the axis of evil. right? And then he went in with the American military to Iraq and Afghanistan. First Afghanistan, then Iraq. And he said there's terrorists there. They are terrorists, right? This time the terrorists are cartels, right? Because Trump is accusing some South American countries of having these cartels, right? And they don't have any control over their countries, and they are now labeled as terrorists, a national security threat. So if these countries cannot deal with it, America will deal with it the same way they have dealt with terrorists in the past, right? But it's kind of hypocritical because we know that America back in the days was getting drugs from South America. So, right now, all these world leaders are looking at what's going on with the current events. They are, I don't know if it's true or facts, but they're telling Mr. Orange to release the president of Venezuela, to release him. They're all threatening America. You got like what, 4 to 5 countries threatening America. What is that? What is that? That is war, the balance of power, right? The balance of power is America wants all the power. The guy who's controlling it, he wants all the power, right? He already threatened Iran, gave them a warning, blast them well, a month or two ago, and he said if they don't behave same way he's talking about Venezuela, they will feel it again, and he will use the American military. So around the world, people are looking on this right now as an example. They're looking at this as an example, and they're saying America will be a hypocrite to stop what they want to do because China wants Taiwan. They are claiming Taiwan as their own, right? They've been doing military exercises or whatever, war games you could call it, for years, and there's rumors that they're starting up again. And for North Korea, which they would like to do, but there's a big American military base in the South Korea. North Korea would love to attack South Korea. They would love to attack South Korea, but there's American base there, so they can't do that, right? And Russia, they're doing what they want. America was kind of maybe they're still helping Ukraine, but they could do what they want right now. What could America say to Russia? This is part of the reason maybe Trump in his head saying, "Yo, let me just do this because Russia's doing what they want. I don't really want to invest too much money into Ukraine to defend them against Russia. Make them do what they want with them, right?" So maybe that's what's really going on because America's been helping Ukraine for a while, and now they feel if you could do that, we could do the same with Venezuela. Why not? Right? They say taking it over, and they're going to use all the resources they can until they feel there's a proper leadership there. So, like I said, they got a war. There's a war going on now in South America. Like it or not, there's a war going on in South America. I gotta say that to you again, and the war might spread out even more to other places. Cuba is talking spicy, and that is on the target for America. But Russia is a big allies of Cuba. Will we see? All it takes is for another country to step in. All it takes is for Russia to bring some type of weapon close by to South America, if not already. That's all it takes, right? Will Russia do that though? will somebody step up because going, they're hurting their pocket in some type of way. They're taking away that oil contract. They're taking away contracts from a lot of countries because Venezuela is one of the most, I guess, they supply a lot of people with the oil, and there's other natural resources there. So, this is the balance of power, right? That will make war. War is built off of economics. They don't really care about the people as you see it, they care about the money. So, this man wants to go down in history. He'll do whatever it takes. He does not care, right? Like I said, he's an old man. He's an old man. He doesn't care. So World War III is already in motion. It's been in motion for a good long time, right? Stretching out from what, 25 years ago, right? So the first stage was you got Bush, this man Bush. He was the first stage. And people, there's a lot of conspiracies around him. A lot of people did not like Bush at first, right? And after Bush, they had to quiet people down, and then they put the first black president in, Obama. Do you remember what Obama done to get Osama? Don't you remember? He didn't mention anything what he was going to do. He just sent the American military over to Pakistan, bombed, and they kind of done the same thing. The only difference is they killed, well, they so-called killed Osama. Don't you remember that when Obama made the American military go to Pakistan and take out Osama? After so much years, they were looking for him. They took him out. Pattern. That's why the Democrats and the Republicans, they're almost the same shit. It's almost the same shit. No difference. So remember that. And don't you remember Bill Clinton back in the days? He just sent, remember that movie Black Hawk Down, the military into North Africa, and they done what they done, but they ran out. They ran out from there. They learned a lesson there. But fast forward back to Obama. He done something similar to what Mr. Trump's doing, right? And he wanted to go out being the man who caught Osama, and he did, or killed him, right? So now you got this situation where Mr. Trump send people in to do a little bombing, but there's a lot of conspiracies surrounding this. People are saying that they already had some type of deal to surrender or some shit like that. Um, they said the casualties was 40 people. Now they're bringing up the number. I'm hearing other conspiracy theories saying maybe they paid off people to not really fight back, and that's why it was a swift capture. Because people will sell out their own government, believe it or not. They'll sell out their own leader. There's always those people there. So, and America knows how to do that. So now that they captured one leader, the next they want to capture another leader. If it was up to them, they'll capture all the people who's their enemies. They'll love to do that, right? They can't do that to China. They can't do that to Russia. But one person who's wanted in the world, but well, for war crimes is Netan. I can't even pronounce his name. The president of Israel, right? Benjamin. They want him, right? They want him. The world courts for war crimes. So the balance of power. That's how much power America has because this man who has war crimes against him, they're not doing nothing. They're not going after him. Yeah, they're not going after him, right? So World War III, It's been in motion for 25 years. 25 years. Now, Trump has 3 more years, and those 3 more years will be 3 more years of war. 3 more years of war. He wants to do what he planned to do for a long time. And the other leaders of the world want to do what they wish to do for a long time. Like I said, Russia, don't be surprised, Russia turns it up on Ukraine and they capture that capital and take out Zelensky. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised you see China take over Taiwan. It might get bloody, very bloody, but don't be surprised. Now, North Korea would love to take over South Korea, but there's American base there, right? There's American base there, so that's not gonna really, that'll be very hard. They wish that's not gonna really happen. And then there's a couple other states that have their own confrontation or their own history. Now, Israel, they've been doing a lot too themselves. They killed unalived over 200,000 people. 200,000 people basically almost eliminated Palestine or the people from that land, Gaza, and they probably are going to turn it up too because look, America's distracted right now. How much fronts can America be at? They have a lot of military. Well, how much fronts could they be at, right? So the other countries that have their conflicts or had their conflicts, this is the time. This is the time for them to do their thing because America is distracted and Trump doesn't really give a damn about a lot of those situations. He doesn't give a damn, right? Maybe he wants to encourage it. Yeah, maybe he wants to encourage it. You don't know because 1 minute he's friendly with Russia, then now he's kind of like trying to make it like he could play tough against Russia, right? Really look on that. And then 1 minute he's tough on China, and then he changes that up. Who's really against each other? And remember, there's something called fake news. They had something called fake news for a long time, right? So these reports of China saying if you don't let Nicholas Maduro go, we're gonna let him go. They're threatening um, America to let him go. You got Russia saying the same thing. Let the Venezuelan president go. You got all these countries saying let Maduro and his wife go. Is that true? I haven't seen no press conference yet. The only one who's talking I've seen so far is the Colombian president. He's basically not backing down and he's talking a lot. It makes me wonder now, why is he so confident after seeing what America has done to Venezuela? Why is he so confident and thinking that like Trump won't go there? Why is he so confident? Makes me wonder. That means he got more what influence. He got his people willing to fight for him. Um, what is it? Because like it or not, Trump is labeling Colombia as a haven for drug lords, right? For cartels and stuff like that. And he's just going for the money. But now you got China, like I'm saying, stepping up their military, right? Against Taiwan. They want Taiwan for a long time. Don't know why they claim it's theirs, right? Um, there's a couple months ago, they're saying India was fighting too, some region in India, right? They're fighting. right? They want to, because some place wants to be independent, right? In Africa, things are going on. Even in Africa, people want to assassinate the Traore, Ibrahim Traore from Burkina. They don't like him. They don't like him, especially France. So even right now, you got Trump talking about Europe, saying that Europe, they need to fix up, saying that Europe is losing its identity. So you got Trump dissing Europe, disrespecting Europe a lot. So the balance of power is America wants all the power, or Trump wants all the power because he represents America. He wants all the power. And where is this going to take us all? Because, like it or not, America, the president represents the leader of the free world. Where does this take us? Into something dark. World War III is already happening. Economic war with this tariff shit, right? Um, Control through communications, controlling social media starts with TikTok. All right, it was owned by Chinese. Now America captured some of it. Twitter is his friend. So the balance of power goes back to America. And World War III is already in motion. And how it's in motion is all these other countries now could do whatever they want. Operation Golden. Yeah, all these other countries could do what they want. It's very hypocritical for America, what should stand on some principles, as they claim, to say anything against China, to say anything against Russia, to say anything against other countries, what they're doing. So, what's going on? This is some serious shit because even if you're in Canada, he wanted Canada to be the 51st state. He's saying he wants Canada because Canada has a lot of natural resources. He just talked about Greenland, and Greenland responded back. So he doesn't care about the independence of other countries. He doesn't have any respect for anybody. He doesn't have respect for anybody. This man wants to be the super dictator of the world. He wants to be the man. He wants to be going down in history. Not just him, like I said, there's another guy, Mr. Putin. Mr. Putin wants power too. He's in Greenland, Mr. Putin. Mr. Putin wants the Ukraine. What next does he want? Right? Yeah, the race for the top, the dragon. This is in the biblical times too. If you look on it, yeah, Revelations. A lot of this is in there. Gog and Magog. They're going by the script, right? So don't mean to scare people, but look up your scriptures, right? Just look it up. China and Russia. China and Russia, America. All it took is a situation, some type of situation to spark it off. The two towers that fall, Babylon, the two towers, 9/11, that fall, right? About 25 years ago, right? Look on that. Look on that. The two towers fall, economics. And now he's doing the tariffs to the whole world. Now you got a person who was a businessman, billionaire, actor, and now politician. And now dictator, right? He had the first term, lost the second, and now he's back again. If you look up, there's a book called The Last President. The Last President, Trump. Now, if this book is true, it's not good. Because what do they mean by the last president? It's either something very bad happens, or he's not he doesn't want to go anywhere even after the 3 years was left. Right? He's not gonna want to go anywhere. There's actually a book called The Last President. Old book, right? So right now, like I said, China is like looking at this like shit, we could do what we want with no shame, or do we just try to look better? But they could say we could do what we want with no shame, the same as America. Russia is already doing what they want with no shame, and they don't want to hear anything about anybody telling them to stop. So imagine this is even worse for Zelensky. Right now, it's a bad time for Ukraine. Very bad for Ukraine, because you asking anything from America is not going to work anymore. Sorry. You're not going to have them come to your city right now. They're busy, man. It costs a lot of money for war. It costs a lot of money to pay for weapons. So the weapons and the military, he needs that to watch over South America right now. He needs that. They got the military stretched out all the way to Asia. So if you look on it, America has military bases in Saudi Arabia, or military base in Saudi Arabia. That's what sparked off a lot of things in the past, right? They got a military base in South Korea. I don't know if they still have one in Japan. I don't know if I think they still have one in Germany, in Europe, and they have one in Cuba, or close or around Cuba. Um, really look on it. America has the military almost all over the world. Does any other country have the same? Right? Does any other place have the same? Right? So all these other places that have their own disputes, old or new, they are gonna start their shit. Just look up World War III. World War III was people were fighting on different fronts. Germany and Russia, they had their own thing. That's where it ended, kind of, right? Germany and Russia. Um, Germany was taking over most of Europe. Remember that? And like I said, Japan took over China for a while, right? If you go look that up, and other countries were fighting. There's revolutions going on. In Spain, they had a revolution. They had a little battle, a civil type of war was going on around those times. In Africa, things was going on around those times. World War II, right? Times a lot of countries was going through a lot of things. That's why it's called World War, because a lot of countries was fighting war at the same time, and then people were allies. Like Japan was allies with Germany. Iran was allies with Germany. There's a lot of allies with Hitler, with the Nazis that time, and then there was Russia, England or UK, and America. They were together, and I think France was with them too. And after then, that's why France got taken over by Germany. So that's what a world war is. People are taking sides, and they're having their battles for their own interest, right? Germany was taking over many other countries, bombing places and taking them over. And then later on, America came into it, right? They weren't in it in the beginning, but they came into it later. So that's what I'm telling you. What's going on now, right? You might just see America in Venezuela and then going to Colombia, but then other parties might come into it, probably will come into it, right? Let's see what happens. People are threatening each other, people are calling out each other. Like I said, tonight, there was a fight. I don't know who's fighting in Venezuela, but there's reports of gunfire going on. A lot of gunfire. A lot of gunfire. To me, it's probably people are trying to take their position. Civil war. But America's not going to make that happen. So if you know what world war is, it's not just one country against another country. It's several fronts, several places fighting all at the same time. And it's for something. It's for money or economic power. That's what it's for. Nothing else. It's for economic power, control of resources, natural resources. And that's what World War II, a lot of it was over Africa. After that, a lot of people got uranium, right, for nuclear weapons. And like I said, you seen what they done to, you know what Hiroshima is. You see what America done when they were going to Hawaii, Japan. You see how America dropped that bomb on Japan. You see what happened, right? It quieted them for a long, long time. And a lot of people don't even know that Japan took over China at one point, taking over that region with their power back in the day. So if you don't know, do your research, right? And Russia was allies with America. They always been working with each other. Now it seems like they're enemies, but they really are working with each other. Yeah, don't be fooled. And if I say the word, what I'm gonna say, they for sure will mark that down on this channel. The NWO, the NWO, right? It goes deeper than what we see. A lot of people like destruction and death. A lot of people feed off of destruction and death and stuff. Like I said, it's the balance of power, and some of these people believe in they're in cultish type of shit, right? So destruction and death brings an energy to them, what they love or what they like. Yes, and it will continue. So people want to say, who's next? Will it be Colombia? Will it be Mexico? It might not be any of them. It might not be any more of South America. It might be somewhere else. It might be somewhere else in the Middle East. What we don't know about. They bombed Yemen, somewhere in Yemen, right? Um, we don't know. They probably have some interest people are forgetting about. There might be somewhere else they're gonna go. Just really think of it. No one thought they would go to Nigeria. No one thought about that because he's saying they're killing Christians. Now, that even is the interest of China. China has interest in Nigeria. Russia has interest in Nigeria. Remember that. So, for anybody interfering with that, that makes war. Yes, it's happening. People want to live in a fantasy world. A lot of people never thought that the two towers would go down in New York. A lot of people never thought there would be a black president, that was a fantasy. A lot of people never thought that Donald Trump would be the president of the United States. A lot of people didn't think there would be a woman who would be running, two women would be running to be a president, right? A lot of people never thought a social media owner, billionaire, would be in politics with Trump, right? So anything could happen. Anything could happen, especially in these days. The list goes on, like people believing in aliens now when it was a hoax forever, right? So, right now, they want to scare people, and some people should be scared because you got a madman, a power hungry man with other crazies, crazy leaders ready to react. Because if we think just Trump is crazy, the leader of China doesn't joke. Putin is no joke. And that guy in North Korea, he is no joke. And the list goes on, who I've just mentioned, right? Trump is actually an altar boy compared to Putin. He's an altar boy. But what Trump is doing is not a good example. Because if these guys, what I'm just mentioning, ain't altar boys, imagine what they're going to do when they want to do something and you can't stop them because it'll be hypocritical to say something against them with this situation. And just say Trump talks against these guys. Say if Trump starts to talk the same way he's talking to the Colombian leader, to Putin, or to the Chinese president. Say if he starts talking those ways, do you want him to start talking like that to China and Russia? Think of it. Do you want that guy, the orange man, to start speaking like that to China and Russia and North Korea and Iran? Well, he kind of did do it to Iran. But do you want him to speak like that to those guys? Saying that you're next to China and Russia? Good luck with that. It won't be good. It won't be good because guaranteed they will not back down, right? They will not back down. This is the end of the United States. You think so? Well, they say every empire falls, right? They're saying every empire falls. Every empire. Some people saying this is the end of the American empire these times. So we shall see. Let's up user WM4. You have all types of letters in there. Bless up. And I can't even read that there, but yeah, a lot of people are saying it's the end times of the American Empire. I'm just saying, besides all of this, what's going on after Trump, whoever comes, if there's even somebody after Trump, because they call him the last president, whoever comes after him has a big job to clean up, right? Oh, so you've seen it since the beginning of the Ukraine problem. And you know what? The Ukraine situation was going on even before Trump was there, right? Yeah, they say he's the last president. There's actually a book. There's actually a book about it, about the last president. People should look it up. So, like, I'm wondering, like, after Trump, which I know I don't, man, it's kind of scary. who will be next. You could imagine, just say if there was elections after Trump, whoever's next is going to have a big cleanup job. Whoever comes next will have a big cleanup job because they're going to have to take our the military out of South America, because by then for sure he will be in South America even more deep. Hopefully he doesn't go anywhere else and start to put the American military at risk, like going to Africa more and maybe the Middle East more and stuff like that. So he's trying to screw it up for the rest. Informed about Ukraine 2020. Yeah, 2008. Yes, you're right. It's years ago, man. And you know what? A lot of people were leaving Ukraine. I know Canada took a lot of Ukrainians in around, let me see, was it that time or a little bit after? That, not too far from that 2008. So things was cooking up from a long time ago, years ago, way before Trump even was in the picture. America was known for supplying Ukraine with a long-range missile that could hit Russia. That's what kind of sparked it off even more, because Russia was going into the former Soviet Union, Georgia, right? And things, they were doing their dirt over there and other places. So this is something what's been in the works for a good while. And same thing with China and Taiwan. We've been hearing about war games for years, and North Korea doing their war games against South Korea, and Iran doing their war games and threatening Israel and talking tough against America. You get what I'm saying? So before it was Iraq trying to play tough, and you see what happened to Iraq. Um, so the new front, besides the Al Qaeda, what was around, and the ISIS and whoever, the Hezbollah, now it's the cartels, which the cartels been around a long time ago. What a lot of people don't know, that's why that guy in Colombia is so brave. A lot of the cartels, they ain't just some normal street guys. A lot of them are former military. A lot of these guys are trained. They're not like guys who just have weapons and don't know how to use it. So the American military don't want to do no ground war. They don't want to really come into there. That wouldn't be nice for America. They'll do that high up bombing from the sky, right? That bomb them from the sky. They don't want to do that guerrilla war anymore like the Vietnam. It would not be nice for America to see body bags coming back, right? It'll cause a revolution in America again. But like I said, Trump knows what he's doing. In the earlier episode, like I said, they use the media to brainwash Americans to pay more attention to stuff like the Diddy case and music and all types of shit and TikTok. So he knows how to control the people through media, right? And now they have taken away a lot of your freedoms in America. If you think you're free, if you think you're going to revolt against him, you might get a visit. Remember what I say. You might get a visit. So it could be one reason a lot of people who are on the internet don't talk against Trump. Will Australians will side with China? We Australians will side with China? In what? What would you side with China? To take over Taiwan? Australia will side with China to take over Taiwan? That's what I want to know. Because that's what they want. That's what they want. I wonder how the Australians feel really about this whole situation. War? War with who? Because America's They don't want war with China. They don't want war with China. I don't think they threaten China because they're smart. They need China in some type of way. America never threatened China, right? China is the more peaceful society. Of course, China's not a multicultural place. So of course they could have more control. When you have different nations within one nation, like any other situation, it's not going to be perfect. It'll be more what you say, how could I put it like this? Chaos, more division, even if they call it the United States, right? There'll be more division. How much nations are within a nation? In China, you don't have that. China's very multicultural. I don't know about that. I would have to dispute that. I'm not saying there's other people who don't visit there, but it's not multicultural like Canada. It's not like America. No. Mm-mm. I could say Russia more a little bit. Could say Russia. I'm not saying that China ain't trying to change, but no, it's not like that. China has many languages. Yes, China has their own many languages what are ancient, many languages of their culture. There's people who do come there to visit, but it's not multicultural like America. Nothing like America. And America's not perfect either. So that's why you got a lot of division in America and a lot of problems in America because of all different type of people that live there. So different cultures from north to south. There is vast what kind of different cultures. You would have to inform me of the different cultures, what they have there. It probably could be neighboring India and other places in Asia. I'm guessing. Do they have a lot of Africans in China? That's what I want to know. All I know, World War is for economics. World War is for the money and power and control. That's what it's for. They don't care about people's rights. It's not for that. Yeah, Australia is multicultural. I know that. The problems that America has. Yeah, Australia is multicultural, and I know about they did have problems in Australia with the native or the Aboriginal Aborigines. I seen their documentary. They have problems with those people, but America has history through slavery and through doing killing of a lot of natives, right? So of course they're gonna have problems. You're going to have problems because you have a history of taking over people, right? More than once. So, of course, it's going to have problems. Any place where it has something similar to American history will have problems. So, you cannot compare Australia to America. Australia, and they did treat our indigenous. Yeah, I know all about that. But America, you can't compare Australia to America. America is completely different than everywhere else on earth. Completely different. Yeah. America has a lot of social problems. It's too deep to go into. So it'll never be perfect. A lot of bloodshed. A lot of bloodshed. Right? So what's going on? World War III is an international, it's called World. So it's an international issue. And it's always started by some type of leader, some figure. Like I said, World War II, they said was started by the assassination of a Austrian king, assassinated, and that's what sparked it off. And then Germany, that was what? World War One, actually, going into World War Two. Let me correct myself. So, what sparked it off World War One was the assassination going into World War Two, because Germany was in World War One and Two. This is all the fight for power, money, right? Power and money. Germany built up an empire strong in Europe to battle to battle Russia and America and everybody in Europe. That's what they're known for, building. So, what's to come? Some people just say pray to God because they believe in God. There's people who don't believe in God, and that's the reality. But there's a big distraction with social media. Yes, the news, people need to know the news. Yes, they use social media to communicate the news. But when they're ready, they'll make this disappear for a little bit, even though it's going on. Just like what happened in Russia with Ukraine. You don't know what's really going on, but they're killing people every day. A lot. Russia's doing a lot in Ukraine right now. Again, in Vietnam is lost. Yep. Taliban in Afghanistan. Yeah. The Taliban's back. But the Taliban is a community. People thought it was just a group. Taliban's from Pakistan. There's millions of Taliban. But look how the media made it sound like it's just this little group that was in Afghanistan doing all types of stuff. It's a big, it's an ethnic group, if you want to call it that, right? The Taliban. What's gonna happen next is get ready to see more places acting up, doing their own thing, people, because these guys are these men who are the leaders of these countries. They're just continuing an agenda from a long time ago. They're just continuing it. Like I said, China wants Taiwan, Russia wants Ukraine, America wants more of South America. They already took it over parts of South America before, right? It's called California. So, people, please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. It's your host, Sean Myrie of the Down to Earth Network. I'm out.